Throughout the tropical seas of the world, there is a threat of death. Sharks. In Australia, 175 people have been killed by sharks in the last 60 years. In fact, the actual risk is small. More people have been killed every year by lightning and bee stings, and far more by snakebite than are killed by shark. Here, certainly, bathers can swim without fear, for these surfing beaches are protected by a long, discontinuous chain of nets. This young hammerhead shark has died of suffocation, held fast, unable to swim, and so to pump oxygen across its gills. Wherever this technique, known as meshing, has been used, there has never been another shark attack. Yet the flimsy-looking nets don't actually seal off the beach. Sharks can swim under and around them, and indeed are often caught on their way out. Nets like this require checking daily for the removal of corpses of their gruesome victims. When damage to the nets is severe, they can be lifted in sections and taken ashore to be repaired, while others replace them. This hammerhead is certainly an aggressive species, but it's rendered harmless by this simple yet effective device. The tiger shark is named for the stripes it shows as a young fish. One has been known to swallow a whole pig, which happened to be swimming in 18 fathoms. Tin cans, pieces of wood, and in the 18th century, a knight in armor have been found inside tiger sharks. They apparently eat first and ask questions later. But they're not the most feared sharks. These jaws belong to the great white, known also as the man-eater. This one is still alive. Its gills are still pumping slightly. Ron Taylor, who made this film, is one of the great Australian experts on sharks, and he regularly goes out beyond the protection of the nets in order to search for them. Out here, there is always danger. Blood from a speared fish may attract a killer. Fortunately, this young reef shark prefers fish to Ron Taylor. Some divers are not so fortunate and make themselves a shark's meal by trailing their catch behind them when they're swimming. Valerie, Ron's wife, loads the shark hunter's only effective defense, the bang stick, a rifle or 12-bore cartridge backed by a firing pin. When a shot is well placed, the explosion can cripple or kill a shark. But if there are 2 sharks or more, the diver may still be in danger. Another device developed by the US Navy is a gun which injects the shark with carbon dioxide, so upsetting its buoyancy. Experiments have also been made with a parachute dart, which upsets the shark's equilibrium. Work in the United States has shown that electric fields can effectively repel 5 dangerous species of shark. Here, the shark is swimming freely under the non-charged electrode. And when the current is switched on, the shark retreats. Ironically, other experiments have been aimed at attracting sharks. Pulsed sounds, resembling those given out by wounded fish, summon sharks which circle in a particular pattern. After 10 seconds. After 20 seconds. And after 2 minutes. The purpose? Well, one day it may be possible to lure sharks away from bathers or aircraft crash victims. This is the Great Barrier Reef of Australia, stretching 1,200 miles along the east coast, and it's a favourite shark habitat. Here in the shallow, clear waters, it's possible to film the behaviour of many species. Coral reefs are as full of swarming life as any tropical jungle. Down among the coral canyons, fish swarm like multicoloured birds. Some, like the stonefish, are as dangerous as a shark. Its poisonous barbs can kill a man in under an hour. The moray eel lies concealed here too. Nearer the surface, a sight that confounds shark mythology. This nurse shark is coming to investigate Ron Taylor. It's probably never seen a diver before because most nurse sharks are regularly chased by divers and are very nervous. Nurse sharks in this part of the reef are both shy of man and yet tolerate him. The Port Jackson shark is about as harmless as a shark can be. It's one of the few tropical sharks that lays eggs, as our own dogfish does, and fossils of an almost identical fish are found in rocks 350 million years old from the Devonian period. It's sometimes called a horned shark because of the ridge over its eyes, but it also carries sharp spines at the forward edge of the top or dorsal fin. It rarely exceeds 4 feet in length, but it's got jaws that are powerful enough to crush the shells of large mollusks. A school of these sharks can lay waste an oyster bed in an hour or two. Port Jacksons are often preyed upon by larger sharks, and they rely heavily on camouflage to escape. When frightened, they tend to seek safety in shallow water, a strange habit for a bottom-living species. But the master of shark camouflage is not the Port Jackson. Look carefully, and concealed in this picture, you will find another shark. Its color seems almost exactly to match its surroundings. And well, it needs to, for this shark, the wobbegong, can feed in two ways. One of them, scavenging along the bottom, using the barbules below its mouth as sense organs. Here, it's found a porcupine fish. But this creature has a lethal defense against sharks. If it were to be swallowed, it would inflate itself inside the shark's mouth until its erect spines pierced the mouth lining and the shark died of suffocation. And this is where the camouflage comes in. The sharks rely on teeth and camouflage, but their closest relatives, the rays, have other ways of escaping. This eagle ray can soar through the water like its namesake. It's amazing that even as large a fish as the giant manta ray can be sustained by a diet of the sea's smallest creatures, plankton. Using the curved lobes on either side of its head, it funnels plankton into its mouth in immense quantities. It can detect divers over considerable distances by means of the sense organs on its underside. However, most rays and skates, unlike the manta, are bottom livers. Generally speaking, rays are harmless to man, but the stingray is named after the venomous spine on its tail, which can be lashed forward with great force when it wishes to defend itself. Other rays prefer to bury themselves in the sand or to hurry briskly away into the distance. The spiny ray has spiracles on top of its flattened head so that it can still breathe while buried. It contrasts strongly with the delicate blue spotted ray. The strangest of them all is the electric ray, or numbfish, whose fins form electric plates which in large fish can generate up to 200 volts and be used not only to stun their prey, but as a defense against enemies. They swim with a sinuous rippling of their fins and bury themselves with surprising ease. This is the telltale shape of a numbfish, as it might appear to an unwary diver. This fish, whose two halves swim in different ways, seems to be a combination between shark and ray. It's called the shovel-nosed ray. In order to film and study shark behavior, Ron and Valerie Taylor first have to attract the sharks towards their cameras and instruments. One of the easiest ways of doing this is by spearing underwater creatures and releasing their carcasses in areas where sharks may be found. They can detect the vibration of a dying fish several hundred yards away. As the sharks come closer, they rely on the senses of smell and sight. All this is a highly dangerous business for the diver. He has to decide whether or not to hold on to his fresh catch and so lure the shark into a good position for filming. Sharks are natural scavengers, well used to ridding the sea of its dead and sickly fishes. This shark is the white-tipped reef shark, one of the dangerous species. And yet, it's indecisive. It's joined by a black-tipped shark. Ron and Valerie Taylor were members of an international shark filming expedition which used whale carcasses from a whaling fleet as bait. These sharks were interesting and dangerous, but in fact the expedition hoped eventually to film the biggest killer shark of all, a monster called the great white shark that grows to a length of 35 feet. But these smaller sharks were still killers. Even so, the cameraman had to leave the protective cages in order to swim closer to them. This was an extremely dangerous thing to do, and not surprisingly, it was only undertaken after serious discussion between the Taylors and the other divers. Generally, the divers swam in pairs, so that one could protect the other against attacks from these greedy reef sharks. They used as weapons unarmed bang sticks, in which the firing pin was held back by a safety catch. With these, the sharks could be prodded away from the cameraman. The sharks gathered and circled the divers until they were forced to use more drastic defensive measures. But the great white shark never turned up. And so the tailors set out on a second expedition by themselves. This time, they trailed lumps of horse meat over the side of the boat and baited the whole area with a mixture of blood and offal. And at last, they attracted the monster that many call White Death. The old sailors, on their long voyages, gave him the macabre name of Ship Follower. Ancient Indians prized his teeth for arrowheads. He will shake his prey so that they cut through it like a saw. And modern bathers have every reason to be terrified of his sleek whiteness. This is no plastic shark, no mechanical model, but one of the most ferocious killers of the whole sea. Sharks are among the most ancient of backboned creatures. Monsters like these came to dominate the seas some 350 million years ago. Later, creatures developed that eventually populated the land. But the giant shark has remained almost unchanged through millions of years, the terror and the master of the seas.